So what's the difference between the XIM Matrix and the Cronus Zen? Well, I'm here to answer that question. I've seen a lot of comments asking what the actual differences are between these two devices, so in this video, I'll break down what each one does, how they work, and what sets them apart. Both devices let you use mouse and keyboard on console or in games that don't often support them, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. Let's start with the XIM Matrix and what makes it stand out from the Cronus Zen. The XIM Matrix is a multi-input adapter, meaning it supports a wide range of input devices. You can either use a controller with gyro support, a mouse and keyboard, a keyboard paired with a controller, and more. One of the standout features is support for adaptive controllers, which is a huge for gamers with disability who need non-standard input methods. I've seen people run Xbox's adaptive controller with custom setups all through the XIM Matrix. It basically acts as the middleman, letting you route multiple devices through it while customizing how each input behaves, giving players with disabilities a much better and more accessible gaming experience. Now, while the Matrix is known for that flexibility, it's mainly used for mouse and keyboard functionality, and it's easily one of the best in that area. Most people using this device are playing games like Rainbow Six Siege, Apex Legends, or Rust, games that don't allow native mouse and keyboard support on console. That's where the Matrix really shines. And to go along with that, they also have a companion app. This is where you can customize all of your settings to your liking, which does a very good job. Now that we have covered what these devices are, let's talk about how they work. Both the Cronus Zen and the XIM Matrix work very similar when it comes down to input handling. You need to plug in a controller from your console into the adapter first. Once connected, the adapter intercepts the controller signals before processing them to the console. This middleman setup is what allows these devices to modify the inputs or let other devices like a mouse or a custom controller override the normal functions. That's how nearly every input adapter like this works. This kind of setup is also what enables players with disabilities to use unique, custom-built controllers. The adapters act as a bridge, making it all work. Now, here's where it gets interesting. What makes the Cronus Zen different from the XIM Matrix? While both support mouse and keyboard in a variety of input devices, the XIM Matrix dominates in the mouse and keyboard department. If you're buying one of these strictly for that purpose and you want the most realistic and responsive feel possible, the XIM Matrix is the way to go. But if you're more of a controller player who wants to enhance their gameplay with mods or scripts, then the Cronus Zen might be more your speed. The Cronus Zen is made by Collective Minds, the same company behind the Strike Pack series, which I've had a lot of experience with. This is their all-in-one solution. It allows you to use mouse and keyboard on any console, just like the Matrix, but what makes it stand out is the ability to run scripts. Things like anti-recoil, jitter mods, rapid fire, and more. You can run these scripts with either a controller or mouse and keyboard. Another key feature is the cross-controller support. You can pretty much use any controller on any console, which is pretty cool. And yes, like the Matrix, the Zen is also marketed towards players with disability since it supports all kinds of unique input devices. But unlike the Matrix, the Cronus Zen doesn't have a companion app. All of your customizations need to be done on a PC. However, it does have 8 custom slots where you can store up to 8 separate scripts at one time. So once you get it all set up, you don't need to stay plugged into a PC at all times. Still, it's not as seamless as having a dedicated app like the Matrix. The biggest advantage of the Cronus Zen is hands down the scripting. Having the ability to load custom scripts for virtually any game using any input device, this is some next level stuff. You may often see people using these type of devices for games like Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and similar titles. If you ever get destroyed by someone with almost perfect recoil control, there's a chance they're using a device like this. So now that we explained what both devices do and what their strong suits are, which one should you choose? At the end of the day, both the XIM Matrix and the Cronus Zen serve the same core purpose, They're both input spoofing devices, but they each have their own specialties. If you're strictly looking for the best mouse and keyboard experience on console, go with the XIM Matrix. It offers the closest thing to native PC level response. But if you're more of a controller player and you want to customize your gameplay with scripts, maybe add a little anti-recoil, rapid fire, or other mods, the Cronus Zen is the better fit. And that's really the key differences. Yes, there are other adapters out there for cheaper, but I've seen tons of comments on my channel specifically asking about these two devices. So I figured I'll make a dedicated video explaining what they are, how they work, and how to decide which one is better for you. And of course, yeah, I know this stuff can be considered cheating. A lot of game companies have started to crack down on the spoofing and cheating devices. Take Rainbow Six Siege, for example. They introduced a system called Mousetrap, which detects mouse and keyboard users on consoles. It works in some cases, but there's still ways around it. So it's something to be aware of. Call of Duty, on the other hand, has attempted to fight back with their own anti-cheat, but honestly, this system is very ineffective and doesn't catch much. At the end of the day, it's really up to you if you want to take the risk. I personally have never been caught. I have been penalized in Rainbow Six Siege before, but it doesn't really matter because they want you to keep playing the game, so the penalties don't really last that long. You just go back to using a controller and call it a day. So this is the end of the video. If you like this type of content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and have a good one.